Super Metroid, also known as Metroid 3, is a video game developed by Nintendo R&D 1, who also helped develop the Mario Bros. And Donkey Kong series. Super Metroid was of course published by Nintendo for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or SNES. It can also correspondingly be played with the Nintendo Switch Online membership for the modern Gen Z kids. Super Metroid is a third installment in the Metroid series. With its 24 megabit cartridge size, it was the largest video game on the Super Nintendo at the time of its release. Super Metroid truly does go to the limits of the Super Nintendo, and quite possibly beyond. It captures a creepy, yet thrilling mood, while also encapsulating an experience that is just enjoyable to play, until you get lost for hours and hours. It was directed by Yoshio Sakamoto, who was moving up from his initial role as an art designer. Gunpei Yoki was the producer of Metroid. If for whatever reason you're unfamiliar with this legend's work, I'll give you a rundown. He started off as just a janitor for Nintendo. At the time, president of Nintendo, Hiroshi Yamauchi, noticed a toy yokai created for his own amusement in his downtime. It would soon be named the Ultra Hand. Yamauchi then ordered Yokai to develop it as a proper product for the Christmas rush. The Ultra Hand was a huge success, and Yoki was asked to work on other Nintendo toys. Once the company decided to make video games, he was then asked to be one of the first game designers for Nintendo, which led to the invention of Game & Watch. The Game & Watch system would go on to feature a collection of retro games like The Legend of Zelda, Mario Bros., and Donkey Kong for many to enjoy. The Game & Watch system then triggered the idea of the Game Boy, which became the third best-selling game console of all time, the second best for Nintendo, with a whopping 118.69 million copies sold, only falling short to the Nintendo DS of 154.02 million copies sold. It was Yoki's last involvement with the Metroid series due to his unfortunate passing in 1997 after a deadly car accident. Like most, he was taken from this world far too soon, but he left one hell of a legacy behind that will not be forgotten. This would be Kenji Yamamoto's, no, not DBZ's Kenji Yamamoto, this Kenji Yamamoto. This would be his first Metroid game he did for the OST for. Kenji did an amazing job capturing the balance of melody alongside capturing the atmosphere around you. This is one of the most underrated tasks in my opinion. Think back to all the scores for Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. It really pulls you into the world, making you feel as if you're there experiencing it for yourself. The score here is no different. It really captivates you into thinking that you were there in that environment, giving you that sense of urgency. His work was wonderful and a huge part of what many consider to be the pinnacle of arguably the best Super Nintendo game. Take that, Super Mario World. Daddy still loves you. It has quite a bit of replayability in different ways. Obviously, it can be played for nostalgia, for all of you boomers out there. And it's still a blast in doing so. But what really stands out is this game is responsible for one of the most biggest gaming industries to date, speedrunning. Super Metroid's gameplay is very similar to the other Metroid games in this series, though it is better known for its non-linearity. Due to this, Super Metroid is often used for speedruns. The game is known to have gotten the industry moving, and without it we likely wouldn't have speedrunning today. Or rather, it may not be as popular as it has become. It has a heated leaderboard with a passionate group of players, which is all you need. The strategies involved are mind-blowing, and the shortcuts and clips discovered are astonishing. I won't bother with the graphics too much. I personally think the graphics are great. They hold up today actually in a great way. Many say this game takes the Super Nintendo to its limits, so let that speak for itself. It captures a then astonishing look, and even today it encapsulates an 8-bit look game developers try to aim for in the modern age perfectly, and this was done 30 years ago. Super Metroid takes place on a large, open-ended planet, Zebes. Samus progresses through the planet by finding power-ups that enable her to access new areas. Much like other 2D Metroid titles, for example, finding the Morph Ball allows Samus to obtain the missiles, and finding them lets her access several more areas. The game introduces new abilities and concepts such as diagonal aiming, entering Morph Ball in midair, and the ability for Samus to enable or disable her abilities at will. She can also sprint, aim up while crouching, and perform, that's right, a moonwalk, in reference to Michael Jackson's dance move of the same name, of course, which allows her to walk backwards slowly while charging a shot, or rapidly firing if she doesn't have the charge beam. I like to think that she does a little hee-hee whilst doing it, right? Come on. Anyways, the use of weapons, power-ups, and other suit upgrades in Super Metroid is twofold. To defeat enemies and to overcome obstacles found in the environment. Many upgrades make their debut in Super Metroid and would later become series staples, such as Charge Beam, gravity suit, speed booster, super missiles, power bombs, reserve tanks, grappling beam, and X-ray scope. Yeah, a lot. In addition, this game debuts stacking with beam weaponry. Fans all around was screaming, "Fuck yeah, finally!" As unlike overrunning each other and removing them from Samus's arsenal as seen with Metroid and Metroid 2, Return of Samus. Although the Spazer and the Plasma Beam cannot stack in this game. You can also equip and unequip any and all suit upgrades for a harder challenge. This can add a few notches to the difficulty scale. The detail they put into the weapons are awesome. The entire room shakes when you fire a super missile. Power bombs set off the whole room with a big flash, leaves nothing left alive. You can charge up your beam for a more powerful attack. You can run. This is the only game that has a dedicated run button. Once you get the speed booster, you can combine that with a jump and you can get some serious airtime. Yes, even more airtime than you, Dave Mira. One thing I didn't like was toggling through Samus's equipment. Once you collect all equipment, you have to toggle through missiles, super missiles, power bombs, grapple beam, and the X-ray scope. It can be a nuisance, constantly toggling through them all to get to the one you need, especially if you're like me and overclick. The game has really advanced techniques that it doesn't tell you about unless you go to certain areas to see it in action from little critters. From there, you have to figure out how to perform said moves. Jeez, thanks R&D1. One of these techniques would be wall jumping. Oh boy, was that hard to get down at first. Basically, to perform a wall jump, you have to hang on the wall, then press in the opposite direction, followed immediately by a jump input. Once you have the rhythm down, you can scale any wall, no matter how high. When I got consistent with wall jumping, I found myself doing this constantly. It's quite a bit of fun, to be honest. Although, once I got the screw attack, I never found myself doing wall jumps anymore. Something I loved and stumbled upon by accident is Shine Sparks, where you perform your speed booster, then press down on the D-pad to store your charge. Go to your spot, jump up, and shoot up till you reach the ceiling. You can go horizontal, vertical, and diagonal using the Shine Spark. Thanks to Fox, I was informed about Crystal Flash. Without him telling me, and maybe me telling you, there's probably no way in hell you would know this is a feature that Samus has in her arsenal. You have to have a certain amount of missiles, power bombs, and have to input an odd button combination to pull it off. But once performed, Samus essentially absorbs the power bomb, healing herself in a dope-ass animation, looking like Goku in the healing chamber. The game is relatively easy, so you shouldn't need to use this power. I think I died maybe once or twice during the playthrough, but unlike Prime 4, its presence speaks for itself. First boss you encounter would be Kraid. While a massive motherfucker, he's a big pushover. Just keep shooting your missiles in his face, he'll eventually have the big O and be defeated. Fantoon, while his attacks were random, I found it easy to dodge his fire that surrounded him to then ice beam his ass. Dragon did give me slight problems, nothing too hard. Just timely dodges to follow up with an upward diagonal missile launch to make her feel in her guts. I did come to find out later you annihilate this bitch by electrocuting her to death with the grapple beam. Ridley, while a heavy hitter, didn't take much to defeat. I just let him hit me as I kept blasting his ass with missiles. Don't ask me why he kept asking me to blast him in the ass. While not a main boss, I do want to talk about Crocomire the most. This dude gave me the most trouble, mainly because I didn't know how to kill him. No matter how many fucking missiles I put down this dude's throat, he just wouldn't choke and die. The man has no gag reflex. Come to find out, you have to get him all the way to the right of the map to watch his skin melt in the lava when you push him in it. Let me just say, I was so fucking happy to watch this bitch suffer. Botwound and Spore Spawn are mini bosses that took little to no effort to defeat. Don't worry, we'll save Mother Brain for the end. Even though this game is easy, the difficulty comes from getting lost within the map. At least for me. That enemy stuck in his tracks. Just like how I've been for 30 minutes! This is the 15th fucking time I've been in this room! I know who can help.
Buzz Lightyear to Star Command. Come in, Star Command. Star Command, come in. Do you read me? Why don't they answer?
Fuck this shit! I'm looking this up. I found myself lost countless times or going in circles and circles like Post Malone. This is my first and only playthrough, so leave me alone. Don't give me such a hard time. I do, however, want to play this game again. I want to 100% it to get the special ending of Samus taking her suit off, for which I did after my first initial playthrough. Man, does she look good. I didn't like how she shot me in the face, but oh well. Oh, and of course, 100% of the game too. As you guys know, if you've watched my Smash streams or my World of Light series, Zero Suit Samus is my main, she is waifu, and yes, I am a simp. Super Metroid is also the first game in the series to implement a map feature to aid the player in navigation. This has since become a staple of the series, appearing in every subsequent entry to date. They put map stations that give you a layout of the area. Unfortunately, they do not show any secrets, so like Legend of Zelda, you have to bomb every fucking room. How tedious. Luckily for me, I played it on the Switch with the rewind feature. If I didn't find a secret, I would just rewind and keep my bomb. Yes, I know. I'm a cheater. Another thing
that really grinds my gears
was jumping out of the sand pits. My fucking god, was that irritating as fuck. I felt like I broke my jump button at one point. I was pressing that shit so fucking hard, but I digress. Let's finish this off by telling the entire plot, but before we do, consider that like button. Here's the short story. Samus saves a baby Metroid and brings it to the space colony after an arduous, tiring, mentally draining and long genocidal walk through planet SR-388. Ridley then steals baby Metroid 5 minutes after Samus leaves the Sarah space colony. Samus then gets a distress call from the colony. Her response? This is fucking bullshit. I mean, I think that's everyone's response, right? Okay, yeah, I know. You guys want the long story. Let's do the long story. There isn't too much to the story after the beginning of the game. There's essentially no dialogue whatsoever. Leaving where the last game left off, though, Samus destroys all Metroids on planet SR-388, defeating the final boss, Queen Metroid. Once defeated, during the extraction of planet SR-388, Samus encounters a Metroid that hatched from its egg. Samus being the first thing it's seen, it immediately thought Samus was its mother. Afterwards, Samus then sends the Metroid to Sarah's Spatian colony for scientists to study the young Metroid. They found they could harness its power to help benefit mankind. Leaving the baby in their care, Samus headed off on another bounty. Shortly after, I like to think it was about 5 minutes, Samus gets a distress call from Sarah's station. Little does she know coming back would be a CSI season finale. It is dark and filled with all the scientists dead, just laying there on the floor. Upon further investigation of the crime scene, we run into Ridley cradling the baby capsule. Samus tries to take down Ridley, but is unsuccessful. Ridley takes the baby Metroid to a nearby planet called Zebes, leaving Samus 60 seconds to escape before the space station's destruction. This pretty much sums up the story. The rest is basically exploring planet Zebes to take down the 4 main bosses we talked about earlier: Kraid, Phantoon, Dragon, and Ridley to gain access to Torian. After battling her way through Torian, she encounters a Metroid way bigger than the rest, draining all the energy from Samus' suit until she reaches one. Turns out, this big Metroid was baby Metroid. It had recognized Samus, her mama. After the departure, Samus then refills the energy in her suit and stacks up on the missiles for Mother Brain. You then find Mother Brain in a capsule that you must attack with missiles until the capsule breaks. Once broken, Mother Brain finds a mechanical body to attach itself to. After dealing so much damage, Mother Brain goes, "Alright, enough of this shit." Fires a massive ass color beam of light, making Samus
discover the rainbow, taste the rainbow.
Samus almost perishes until baby Metroid gives the best suck on Mother Brain, taking all her power and leaving her absolutely speechless. Good thing baby Metroid spits and doesn't swallow, as it spit all the energy from Mother Brain to Samus. Mother Brain must have had some orange juice around, as she recovered quickly, and she was ready for round 2. Mother Brain then shoots baby Metroid until it lifts off Samus, then floating in the air, baby Metroid gets exploded by Mother Brain, leaving all its blood and guts to shower over Samus. Jesus, talk about dark. Samus then makes Mother Brain
taste the rainbow.
As she shoots colorful beams of light, she's like, "Right back at you, bitch." Easily defeats Mother Brain, who just disintegrates into dust as if Thanos just snapped his finger. This then triggers another countdown, leaving Samus 3 minutes to evacuate from planet Zebes. Making it to her ship just in time as she flies off the planet, cracks, crumbles, and explodes, just like your mind after this video. At the end of these videos, I want to give the games a personalized rating, 1 out of 10. This one gets a solid 7.5 morph balls out of 10. Overall, this was a blast to make, and make sure to leave suggestions for the next game down below. If I didn't cover something really unique, put that down below too. If you enjoyed this video, check these other ones out. Look forward to the next time, and that's all I have for today's episode of Schni.